have been many things that have impacted cell phones' change in history. There have been environmental impacts, economic impacts, social impacts, and political impacts. Now there are over 800 million cell phone users across the globe and over 150 million in the U.S. alone. People all over the world have loved cell phones since they were first released in 1984. The average cell phone is used for 12 to 18 months before it is replaced. That's just some basic information about cell phones, and over the course of this video, we're going to tell you more and more about how cell phones have changed history.
Going. Okay. So I'm here to tell you about Martin Cooper, who was the inventor of cell phones. He was born December 26, 1928 in Chicago, Illinois. He worked for Motorola, and he made the first cell phone call in April of 1973, and he made the first cell phone call to his rival, Joe Engel, who worked for AT&T, to kind of brag that, he made it. And the first cell phone was called the Motorola Dynatec, and based off of this information, we can infer that this is the reason why Verizon and AT&T are such rivals. Okay. The first cell phone, the Motorola Dynatec, was pretty big, actually. It was like 9 by 5 by 1.7 inches, so it's like big. And it weighed 2.5 pounds, which is pretty big, or heavy, considering our phones like weigh nothing. And it could only talk. Time was 35 minutes, which is really limited. And the recharge time took like 10 hours, so that would be a pain in the butt. And the only features it had were like you could talk, listen, and dial. That's it. So no texting, no nothing like that.
Most of the time, cell phones have a negative effect on people's social behavior. In a way, they isolate people from the real world because cell phones have become a mask to hide behind. The constant use of cell phones as basically the only form of communication has created a block on developing social skills. For most teenagers, when in an awkward social situation, a lot of the time, they use their cell phones as a way to escape and not be social with the people around them. On the other hand, some would argue that there is a positive effect of cellular devices on society. Cell phones have completely revolutionized everything humans know about communication these days. Also, they have made it much easier for people to communicate with each other.
When you think about cell phones, you wouldn't necessarily think about the effect that they have on the environment. But the truth is, they have a pretty bad effect. A circuit board of a cell phone can contain lead, mercury, and arsenic, which are all harmful, if not deadly, to humans. And 140 million cell phones are trashed per year, which means when those cell phones go to a landfill, that lead and mercury and arsenic can all sink into the ground and reach us in a way. And so according to some environmental experts, birds and bees and other flying animals, they have an aversion to areas where cell phones are used and also where there are cell phone towers. Although this theory hasn't been fully developed, scientists have admitted to that towers and cell phones do have an effect on these animals. The following picture is an outline of how cell phones can be very harmful to the environment.
To wrap up how cell phones negatively affect the environment, here's a quick fact. There are about 6.7 billion people on this planet, and 61% of them have a cell phone subscription. So that means that there's 4.1 billion phones. And the average consumer will use their phone for less than a year, which is really bad. And did you know that a plugged-in cell phone charger, like it's plugged in but your phone's not in it, still draws with about half a watt, even though it's not plugged in. So that's really bad. So the effects that cell phones have had on politics are actually pretty big. New York Times did an article on Obama and his addiction to his BlackBerry all throughout the campaign. For an example, he got an email from his friend. It was a congratulations email the night of his victory. And so that's a way that Obama personally has used his BlackBerry. But because now he's in office, he's had to give it up due to email security things and a thing called a Presidential Records Act, which puts risk for correspondence of important documents out to the public, which is bad. So no. Cell phone companies during the campaign of 2008, Obama versus McCain, go Obama, that cell phone companies used the candidates to like advertise, I guess. Like at the inauguration itself, the jumbotrons, the big TVs, had Verizon right across it. So there's one example. Um, Also during campaigning, large groups of people would organize using their cell phone, like text messaging or Facebook, that kind of thing, social networking, to get together and rally for the candidate that they support or dislike. There's this group called Mobile Active, and it's a pretty big organization that you pay money to be a member of, and they encourage people to vote, first of all, and they get together so that people can like do the registration through their phone. Mobile Active has this group called Rock the Vote, cool name, and basically like members sign up for it, and you can get text messages, emails, etc. on important dates like news updates and stuff like that, and it helped a lot, and a lot of members have used it during the campaign and after if like Obama's doing something important. So like politics and cell phones go hand in hand a lot more than we think.
Cell phones boost the economy. New phones come out fairly often, and whenever a new phone comes out, everyone wants that newer, thinner, prettier phone. This helps the economy because the more phones people buy, the more they are in demand, and the more job this creates in the making of these phones.